Hi, it's Mike Hewitson. It's Monday the 30th of March, and over the weekend we've had the really sad news that the first pharmacist has died as a result of coronavirus. Pooja Sharma, a hospital pharmacist, died 24 hours after her father. My condolences to her friends, family and colleagues. I suppose it brings home in stark reality the risks that all of our pharmacy family are taking with their own health and well-being at the moment. I know it's increasingly worrying for pharmacy teams on the front line, feeling that they've got a lack of PPE. I know that colleagues across the system are really starting to get concerned about their own health and well-being. Just to contrast with the news of the first surgeon dying at the weekend, the medic was eulogised by the National Clinical Director for the NHS, but yet not a word has been said in our sector by our leadership. I just think this underlines the appalling lack of leadership and humanity from those people who are making decisions about our health and well-being. From my personal point of view, I am very worried about the lack of leadership across the system. We aren't getting clear communications. The webinar last week was appalling, as I've sort of gone into in some detail, but still now it's 2 weeks since Robert Jenrick announced the National Delivery Service. We've still not seen the sign of a service specification, so contractors are left in an impossible position of being approached for deliveries literally minute by minute and not having any idea about whether they are recruiting people who qualify for this paid NHS delivery service, or whether they're going to have to put their own hands in their pockets. That's just one of a number of things that I think that the leadership is failing on at the moment. Prescription charges, I've been talking about this for best part of 3 weeks now for anyone that'll listen. We've got this crazy tax which is going up in a couple of days' time, which is just going to complicate matters on the front line for pharmacy teams. Either we're going to have to take phone calls to take card payments and record who's paid and who's not paid, or we're going to have to accept cash from potentially contaminated sources, putting volunteers and pharmacy teams at risk. A ludicrous situation. Something needs to be done about it. We're still no further forward, as far as I can tell, about emergency funding for the sector. We've got to see a cash injection to help people pay their wholesale bills at the end of April. But also we need funding. The sector was already on its knees before this crisis hit. The rate of pharmacy closures was going up. People were stripping out cost, reducing their capacity for exactly this sort of scenario. Whether people have cut back on staff members or reduced hours. We've all had to adapt our service in the wake of these cuts, and now we're in a position where you can either buy in the extra capacity, overtime, additional staff, etc., in order to keep the service running, or we all risk the service collapsing. And that is the stark reality. I'm not sure, even Boris Johnson has talked about what an incredible job that pharmacists are doing right now. But we're still not a penny committed to the sector to help us to get through this crisis. We may be open, but there's already significant extra costs and reduced revenue. Now, I'm sure that there are lots of businesses in worse positions than us, and I'm not necessarily going to go on about the money, but the money does give us the option to do other things. So even if the NHS isn't going to step in on the PPE, we can, as contractors, if we've got the resources available, make our own decisions about that to keep our people and our patients safe. Pressing really hard. I've written to my MP, I've spoken to my MP, I've written to Jeremy Hunt and received a response. I've spoken to anyone that will listen about these issues, and we've got to start seeing leadership. All of the bodies are incredibly quiet right now. I will sort of make an excuse that I do understand that they're incredibly busy behind the scenes trying to do stuff, but where's the leadership? Where's the empathy? Where are people sort of trying to understand what life is like for people on the front lines? You know, staff are scared. Patients are increasingly demanding. Their tempers are wearing thin. So, you know, it's not the easiest place to be right now. But I guess over the next couple of days, we should see some movement on the National Delivery Service, hopefully. But everyone, try and stay safe. Thanks for listening.